Coming up on show 842, the Tesla Gigafactory in Nevada makes 13 million cells a day. Plus on the podcast today, Hyundai Kona's electric global sales reaches a big milestone. A study shows the impressive resale value of used EVs, and the Audi e-tron doing very well, they say, in their segment. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, the edition for Friday, 17th of July. Hopefully you're having a lovely day if you are listening to this on Friday before the weekend. My name is Martyn Lee. What I do is I go through every EV story, so you don't have to. Congratulations to the team at Hyundai, because the Kona and the Kona Electric has just reached the milestone of 100,000 global sales in just over 2 years since its market launch in March of 2018. It was the end of the half year, June 30th, that we found out that there's been 103,719 Kona Electric sold around the world. More than 3/4 of the total outside of its home market of South Korea, says InsideEVs. There should be no problem increasing the sales of Kona Electric beyond what they have been doing every year, which is 60,000. Well, this year at least it's been increasing compared to 50,000 last year. The goal for Hyundai by 2025 is to have 560,000 EVs being sold annually in the next 5 years, and about the same again, a bit less actually, for their cousin/sister company Kia. That's 1 million EVs every single year by 2025 from those two companies. The Kona Electric is now made in the Czech Republic, and that's about 235 miles east, that factory, of Prague, which you may know. It's going to make 30,000 cars in its first year. The batteries for the Kona, made in Europe, come from LG Chem and SK Innovation from their factories in Poland and Hungary, respectively. So, headline story today, and in the US, the Science Channel got access to Tesla's Gigafactory in Nevada for a show that they have on TV called Super Factories, and it gives us a rare new look inside the factory. Tesla was talking about the plant producing 105 gigawatt hours of battery cells a year and 150 gigawatt hours of battery packs per year once it was completed. However, that factory, last we heard, was about 30% complete. We haven't seen any big building work over recent years, the flyover shots, the drone shots, so no real change at Gigafactory in Nevada. However, even though the Tesla haven't been expanding the facility, along with their partner Panasonic, they've been focused on optimizing the current production capacity. A few nice tidbits of information in this Science Channel video. For example, in the video, they say that current production stands at 13 million individual cells every single day, which sounds like an astonishing number. And it sounds too high to me. Well, that's what the Science Channel said in their report. If you look at each cell, according to Electrek, Fred's done the numbers, 17 watt hours per cell would mean 221 megawatt hours of battery cells a day. I know, right? A day. That's 80 gigawatt hours a year. Well, that would be a huge increase on the last disclosed official capacity of Gigafactory Nevada. It's been, I would say, a third of that. There's been different numbers, but the last we heard, low 20 gigawatt hours every single year. This would be 80 gigawatt hours. So yeah, maybe I was right. Maybe those numbers do sound too high. I wonder if the Science Channel got confused. It's not 13 million cells a day. It wasn't a great report. They were very confused. They called the Model 3 the M3, which is cringeworthy. Just call it Model 3. The car is called the Model 3. But no, in their report, you can hear the voiceover saying, these are the cells which will go inside the M3. So I just think of the BMW M3 when I hear that. Well, Teslarati notes that rare footage of the battery cell manufacturing process was highlighted in their program called Super Factories, a massive, elaborate conveyor system that Tesla uses for battery cell manufacturing. A look at batteries being assembled for a Powerwall battery was included in the shot as well. It's about a 10-minute video. Nothing breakthrough in here. There was one particular shot which people on Twitter have gone a bit loopy-loo over, and I don't know exactly what it shows. It could show something revolutionary. It's a bunch of cells lined up, and if it's a battery pack, then it's not a pack that's in any of the cars at the moment, because there's no modules. It's just one big slab of cells. Is that cell to pack production? Or is it just a bunch of cells being lined up? I don't know. Firstly, I don't think that Tesla they would have, well, I would presume they have some sort of editorial control over this. They're inviting the cameras into the factory. They'd be very careful what the cameras are allowed to shoot. I don't know if they would have final sign-off on it. Not all media companies like to give, if they're making a documentary, you don't want to then give a company the permission to sign it off because then it becomes a PR piece. But I would think that Tesla would have seen this video before it's published, and if it did include a shot of something that is next generation, that's not in the cars, like this one shot appears to show, it would be snipped out. But then again, that's the assumption I'm making. Clearly, Tesla didn't watch the video before it went out, because the video calls the Model 3 the M3. And that's the first conversation you would have with the executive producer of that TV show. If I was Tesla's either PR or the marketing people that lined this up, I'd call them up and be like, right, you can't call it the M3. Do that voiceover again. So maybe they didn't even see it before it went out. I'd be absolutely livid if I was Tesla. They're not even calling the car the right thing, let alone some other slight inaccuracies that are there in the voiceover, talking about where the cars are made at the factory in Nevada. No, they're made in Fremont, California. However, the big thing is this one shot. Does it show the next generation? No, of course, it's Tesla. So there's going to be loads of people speculating online. That's just, that's what the fans like to do with the company. It could be something, it could be nothing. We'll wait and see. Battery Day reminder, September 22nd. A new study shows impressive resale value of the Model 3. Now, I wonder if I can say impressive resale value of EVs, or maybe just Model 3. Well, this recent study shows impressive resale figures for the Model 3, saying that the sedan holds its value more than 5 times better than other EVs. Car search engine iSeeCars.com analysed more than 6.9 million car sales to identify models with the greatest loss in value after a 3-year period. The 3 available Tesla vehicles currently in production that are on the second-hand market all have below average depreciation, says TeslaMotorsClub.com. Now, the report said that one reason Teslas defy high depreciation of the EV segment is because over-the-air software updates help keep even the older cars more current. As such, consumers are likely willing to pay higher prices for older S's and X's and 3s when they know the software makes it a current car. I didn't realise this, actually. In the car market here, all EVs have very, very high residual values, whether it is the bottom end of the market or the very top. EV prices are very, very strong. I was looking at myev.com, and actually, you can get some amazing deals in the US on not only some used Teslas, but if you take a car that's done, 15 or 20,000 miles, if you look at some of those cars like an I-Pace, the Bolt has got some good prices on. Nothing like we would see here. I wouldn't see anything with those kind of depreciation numbers on. So it's interesting how the two markets are very different. In the US, there's definitely, used EVs are dropping very fast. Over here, no one's really losing any money on owning an EV. It can't last forever, of course. Supply and demand. At the minute, EVs are in short supply. So, I don't know, but certainly all I can speak to is this country, and EV prices are strong, really, really strong. Now, it's only a matter of time, surely, before Volkswagen does an all-electric version of the famous Beetle. They'd be fools not to consider it. And now it looks like, just maybe, it may be happening. VW ID Talk is a forum, and they found evidence from Volkswagen reserving a trademark for the word e-Beetle and others, says Jalopnik. They've also reserved e-Samba, which may be the official name for the reborn microbus, currently being called the ID Buzz with all the Zs, along with the e-Carmen, an electric small sports car, maybe a convertible. Or maybe not. It doesn't, of course, mean that those cars are coming, that they've simply reserved the trademarks, but it's a step forward. Volkswagen of America is also opening up their next-generation charging station at Arizona at a global test center. In case you've ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes, VW of America has opened one of the most extensive electric vehicle charging stations in North America. It's a test facility. It's a next-generation charging station at the Arizona Proving Ground, and it will help them evaluate battery and charging performance under extreme conditions. And of course, it's Arizona. These are extreme hot weather conditions. Engineers will receive real-time data to see how the various chargers that the cars will be charged on compare. There are 50 car parking spaces, not for the likes of you and I, but for the engineers. There's 50 car parking spaces at the global test facility in Arizona. It's one of the 2 test facilities that VW have worldwide, by the way, and it allows testing of cars up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 DC fast chargers from 50 kilowatts all the way up to 350 kilowatts of power. There are AC chargers, 10 level 2 AC chargers to simulate home charging as well, and a variety of connector plugs from Type 1, Type 2, CCS combo, China as well, the GBT plug in there too. All charging equipment has been purchased from a variety of different brands from around the world to maximise the testing variability. Just a little insight there into the work that goes on by the people that make electric cars to ensure that by the time they end up in the hands of the consumers, of you and I, no matter where we live, it can certainly handle whatever we throw at it. Audi are pretty happy with the e-tron. They say the worldwide market leader in its particular segment. The first fully electric series production model from Audi with the e-tron is popular all over the world, they say, with the e-tron GT, the Q4 e-tron, and the Q4 Sportback e-tron coming soon. Audi say they're looking forward to an electric 2021. In the first half of this year alone, Audi delivered 17,641 e-tron models around the world. That's about a 90% increase on the same time last year, despite COVID. And they say that the model, the e-tron 50 and 55, is way ahead of its direct competitors in the full-size SUV segment of being pure battery electric cars. It's the overall top-selling electric SUV in Europe as well. Now, the Audi e-tron is highly sought after in markets like the Scandinavian markets, in particular Norway, where it comes in as one of the best-selling electric passenger cars. The e-tron makes up 92% of the volume of cars that Audi as a company sells in Norway. It makes up a significant proportion of the Audis that are sold in Iceland, 93%, Sweden, 12%, Israel, 14%. In the USA, for instance, the e-tron has recorded an increase in sales by over 50% over the last year. Audi is also launching the Audi e-tron GT. Performance and design, they say, the most important ingredients for the e-tron GT, and they want to emphasize the sportiness of the brand and make the cars that are on the road already, like the e-tron, even quicker. A proper hardcore version of the e-tron coming with the GT. All right, next story. And management consultant McKinsey has taken apart and analysed 10 very popular electric cars from various Chinese manufacturers for a new study. From this, the consultants derived some interesting statements on profits and the market prospects of manufacturers. Says Electri for the study, which is called How to Drive Winning Battery Electric Vehicle Design. They took some Chinese cars and they analysed them from groups like SAIC and GM's Buick brand, from NIO as well. In the analysis, the experts at McKinsey found there was no silver bullet in any of the designs they found and took apart. For 2 of the 10 vehicles, all the components were developed in-house. For 3, all the drive components were purchased, and for 5 of the 10, they chose like a middle course of in-house development and outsourcing of the parts. There are also different approaches to battery designs, as well as the networking and integration of the drive systems. Well, final story today, and one key piece of information that we just found out about the Fisker, the Ocean, which is an SUV. They're currently in talks with Volkswagen about using the MEB platform, the modular electric platform that the ID cars are going to be based on. Ford are going to be using it in Europe, and now Fisker using it for their SUV and the ancillary components that go along with it as well. The agreement would include battery packs, says Autoblog. This attempt at deeper collaboration with VW, part of a 2-year growing partnership. The Verge went through their investor presentation this week, noting that Fisker and VW entered into a partnership agreement in 2017 and collaborating in 2018. Audi's subsidiary Ital Design built the Ocean crossover that Fisker showed off at CES. The prototype described at the time as near series production, prototype, that will sit on the MEB platform. This month, the two companies could well sign a cornerstone agreement which will formalise their partnership, costs and production capacity, and a firm timeline as well. Kind of makes sense if you're Fisker. You know, Henrik is a great designer, but he has been burned, in the past with EVs. It's been a funny old week for Fisker because they've been pumping the company like mad on Twitter. Got some new investment. I naturally steer away from all of that, kind of stuff because they've just been hyping. It's just too much hype. I like it when they quietly get on and make, do great engineering and great work. But there's been a lot of hype online this week about them as, not as much as a company like Nikola, which is all hype, isn't it? But so it's a slight bad taste in my mouth. I don't like all of that, but I understand if you're trying to whip up a frenzy in the markets to raise money and all that kind of stuff. I just hope that Fisker, with this partnership with VW, licensing their platform, we know that Henrik's a great designer, can put on a great car on top of that platform. When I say platform, that is like the battery, the electronics. Why would Fisker want to be setting out designing steering columns and electric window switches? Just get the platform and the software, stick your logos on with a lovely piece of design, make an SUV that costs, he reckons less than 30 grand. Right, okay. But even with, even if the federal tax credit is around in 2-3 years when this car will make it to market, even if it's 40, it's bang in there, right? And so if they can reduce the costs and get a car to market, good on them. Wish them all the best. That's the show for today. As we head into the weekend, I hope you're well, hope you're okay. Looking forward to the weekend. I'd love to hear from you about anything. My email address is hello@evnewsdaily.com, or you can leave a comment on the YouTube show. Well, there are 841 previous shows in the archive. Couldn't do it without my Patreon partners. Thank you. If you are an individual or a business or an organisation that makes this show happen, I'm so grateful for your support. If you can, check out Patreon anytime. Decide if it's for you. That's your choice, of course. Patreon, patreon.com/evnewsdaily. I make the show for free, always will. But I do rely, if you find any of this information useful, insightful, entertaining, if you learn something, I mention it just because I'd appreciate it. Just check out the page and see what you think. Patreon.com/evnewsdaily. Thank you to our premium partners, Phil Roberts of Electric Future, Brad Crosby, Avid Technology, Brightsmith Group for clean tech talent, Porsche of The Village in Cincinnati, Audi of Cincinnati East, Volvo Cars of Cincinnati East. Wonder if they have the new Recharge XC40. I'll have to ask them. And also nationalcarcharging.com. And in Hawaii, alohacharge.com. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. I will catch you for Saturday's edition tomorrow. In the meantime, remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.